Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss the nature of management under the management as a profession. What do you mean by the term profession? Basically, we know that the term profession deals with a professional way of undertaking a task. It includes medical, legal, and accounting. Because any course which undergo a proper training with a practice is what we call as profession. Here we declare or we try to claim management as a profession. But in general, we can accept that management is a part of science, but not a complete science, because it's a social or soft science or an inexact science. But it is 100% an art. But when we say management is a profession, we need to confirm whether it qualifies certain criteria which needs to be fulfilled in order to claim management as profession. What are they? Let's see one by one. First, let's understand its meaning. So, the meaning is very simple. Profession refers to an occupation backed by specialized knowledge and training, and to which it is restricted. The entry has been restricted. See, everyone might think of becoming a chartered accountant, or anyone can think of becoming a doctor. But does everyone becomes doctor, or do everyone becomes a chartered accountant? No, definitely not. Only few takes a profession of chartered accountant, few might go with the legal aspects, becoming a lawyer, few might go as a doctor, and some might take up some employment, as the case may be. So that's why we say profession is nothing but it is acquiring a specialized knowledge and undergoing a training whereby the entry is not allowed to everyone, it's a restriction. Further, to understand what a profession is all about, let's try to understand its characteristic natures. There are totally 5 different nature which profession possess. They are: number 1, well defined body of knowledge; number 2, a restricted entry; number 3, it has a professional association. There is a body. Okay, there is a body that governs or that guides the behaviors of these professionals. And then there is something called as ethical code of conduct, which is connected to the behaviors of the personnel who is undergoing a management or a professional course, as the case may be. And finally, service motive. Let's try to have a clear clarity upon each one of these characteristics. First, the classification is well defined body of knowledge. Next, we'll move on to restricted entry, then to the professional association, and then we'll go to the ethical code of conduct, and finally we'll come to the service motive. Right. What do you mean by well defined body of knowledge? Management is a profession like accounting, medical, and legal, because basically these three are the fields whereby the members undergo training as well as the internship. None of the other courses has got the training and internship. That's why we say profession means either legal or medical, if not accounting. It is similar to this since it has a well defined body of knowledge comprising a well defined principles based on variety of business situations. What does it mean? It's quite simple that every organization has a management, and every management follows some principles which could be either aligned to scientific procedures, or it could be an art, or a combination of both. Thus, it is a knowledge, it has a body of knowledge, and the principles are based on variety of business situations. There can be n number of situations in a business. So based upon that, the first characteristic is said it's a well defined body of knowledge. This knowledge can't be acquired just like that. This knowledge needs to be acquired from different colleges and professional institute. We have many institutes which provides managerial courses or which develops n number of managers every year after year. So in India, we have IIM, the Indian Institutes of Management, which is well known for management studies. So it's a knowledge which we can acquire it from different colleges and professional institutes. One of the good example for professional institute is IIM, which is at Ahmedabad, and also from the books and journals. So there are various sources to acquire this knowledge, right? So the knowledge is being acquired through practice and through theoretical aspect. Second one is restricted entry. It says very clearly that there is some restriction emphasized on certain things. That is, entry is being restricted. As you all know, to become a doctor, you need to write the entrance test, the NEET. If you want to become a lawyer, you need to write an entrance test called CLAT. Similarly, if you want to become a chartered accountant, you have to write the chartered accountancy examinations. So that is the entry point, that is the gateway. If you want to step in, you have to open the gate. So there is a restriction, and it is not that much easy to clear out these examinations, as you have some challenges to overcome. So entry to a profession is restricted through examination or through acquiring the educational degree. Let me give you an example. If I want to become a chartered accountant, I should have a background of commerce. Even without commerce background, it is possible to become a chartered accountant, whereby you need to get some basic graduation degree required, or else you can step into the chartered accountancy courses just after you complete your 12th. Whereas only if you complete the final examination, you will be certified as a chartered accountant. So thus, the restriction is being emphasized either by means of examination or by means of the degree, educational degree. So as I rightly said, here the example is to become a chartered accountant in India, the candidate, which means students, whoever appearing, has to clear a specified exam conducted by the ICAI. What do you mean by ICAI? It's a Institute of Chartered Accountancy of India. Right? ICAI is different. Institute of Chartered Accountancy of India will obviously conduct the entrance test and then then final examinations. Only then you will be certified as an auditor. So that is the entry point. That is a restriction is being emphasized. Whereas when we come to the management, there is no such restriction for appointing a person as a manager, irrespective of educational qualification what he possesses. Which means a company can depute any person as a manager, no matter whether he has possessing any technical knowledge or he is being qualified by such examinations, that is professional examinations. Even out of the experience or seniority, a person can be given a chance of a manager, and a person can also be given a chance of manager if he possesses such educational degrees. So here, when we come to management, there is no such restrictions, whereas when we talk about profession, there is a restriction, as everyone cannot become a doctor or everyone cannot become a chartered accountant. There is some procedure, there is some criteria who can become doctor or who can become a lawyer or who can become a accountant, chartered accountant. So thus there is no restriction in terms of management. This feature of profession is not fully present in management. So in management, this feature is completely absent. Now moving on to the next segment of profession is professional association. As we say that professional courses like MBBS, Chartered Accountancy or the BABL, whatever it is, it has a body forum. It basically has an association. This association will govern the workings of this association will basically governs the working and activities of its members. So all professions are affiliated to a statutory association. Statutory association is nothing but a legal association, a forum, right? So every profession are affiliated to a statutory association or institution which regulates entry in profession, issue certificate of practice, and enforces a code of conduct. Obviously, code of conduct is nothing but it narrates how you have to be, how you shouldn't, your do's and don'ts. That simplifies or that just emphasize on your well behaviors. It talks about the behaviors and discipline aspect. Thus, every profession is aligned to a professional association. For example, if you take lawyers, every lawyer must be a member of bar council if he needs to practice law in India. So lawyers have to become a member of the bar council to practice law in India, which will regulate and control their activities. So we must have some apex institution or a body corporate in order to control our activities. For example, all the bank transactions or banking transactions are governed by the RBI, Reserve Bank of India, which controls the actions or transactions or ceiling limits. They emphasize upon the banks. So, in the similar way, even the individuals like lawyers, MBBS, that is the doctors, and the chartered accountants are confined to their respective body corporates, which is nothing but the associations. In India, there are several associations of practicing managers like AIMA, which means All India Management Association, but they don't have a statutory power to regulate their activities. That means we do have for managers some institutes to ensure their do's and don'ts, their responsibilities, their ethics, morality, everything. But they were not being given up with powers. Those institutes doesn't have any statutory power, that means a legal power to regulate their activities. That is a drawback when we take management into account. We have for profession some associations, whereas though we have the association for management, we can't emphasize them legally. It can't be enforced. It is not a compulsory for the managers to be a member of such association also. If you want to be a lawyer, obviously it is mandatory you have to be a member of bar council. Or if you want to be a doctor, you need to register yourself in the Indian Medical Council. If you want to be a chartered accountant, you must be a member of the ICAI. Whereas if you are a manager of any company, say for example limited companies or a public limited company, whether it's listed or unlisted, there is no hard and fast rule that they have to be a member of any such institutes or associations. This feature of profession is fully present in management. Sorry, it's not fully present in management. Please pardon me. This feature of management doesn't qualify the feature of profession. Next, if you look at, it's obviously the ethical code of conduct, which is nothing but the discipline aspect. Professions are bound by a code of conduct which guides the behavior of its members. It is very important that character shapes a person. If you are in a role of a profession, you must adhere certain principles, you have to follow certain rules and regulations. The code of conduct is very important. A good example is all doctors will definitely take an oath, that is an ethical practice, at the time they enter the profession. You would have seen that doctors' main aim is to serve the people, cure the problems, and to save the life, which we are even seeing currently. Even in this hard time, the doctors are fighting against coronavirus. So, doctors will never have any thought in their mind when they attend any patients, as it is bound to the code of conduct that they have to have an ethical practice. Followed by this, AIMA, which is nothing but the All India Management Association. AIMA has laid down a code of conduct to regulate the activities of the members. However, the membership is not compulsory for all managers. So it's what we say. It is mandatory only for professionals, whereas it is not mandatory for managers. So AME, though it has those associations to guide its members, but it is not compulsory. All managers needs to be a member of that particular association. It is left to them. This feature of profession is not fully present in management. Now the last characteristic feature of profession is service motive. As we all know, that profession, when it comes, whether it be a doctor or a lawyer or an accountant, chartered accountant, the objective or the ultimate focus is to meet the interest of the client. So serving the interest of the client with dedication and commitment is the primary objective of professionals. Whereas when we talk about management, it is not the cases, because management's main objective is to earn profit. That is the main objective for which they all are working upon, right? So there is a contrast in the objectives. The objective of profession is completely different from that of the objective of a management. Let's see an example. The task of lawyer is to ensure that his client gets justice. In the same way, the task of a doctor is to ensure that his patient gets healed or his patient get well soon. Right? So this will be the ultimate objective of any professionals, and they work for it. Whereas the basic motive of an organization is, as I said, it's profit earning, and it's not something a social service. It doesn't aim on social service. However, profit maximization is the objective of management. At times, it might hold different. It may change back. Suppose if there exists a good management and if they are interested to help out the society with their efficiency and effectiveness, then there comes a change. Can you able to understand? If an organization has a good management team which is more effective and efficient, then it automatically will serve the society. How come? By providing a quality product to all the members at a reasonable price. Even that is a social objective, something related to society, right? So there will be a contrast in the objective. That's a service motive. This is purely profit earning as its objective. Thus, to conclude that whether management is a science or an art or a profession, it is very simple that here out of 5 characteristic features, only one feature is available in management. That's well-defined knowledge, body of knowledge. One, that is a quality which is found in management. The rest of the qualities like restricted entry, professional association, ethical code of conduct and service motives are completely ignored. They are not at all present in the features or in the characteristics of a management. Thus, management is not a full-fledged profession unlike the legal, medical or accounting, because it does not meet the exact criteria of profession. If it meets the criteria of the profession, obviously we can say even in management is a profession. But it is not like a accounting or a legal or a medical. It doesn't match up with any of its qualities. Thereby, we can't say that management is a profession. So it doesn't meet the exact criteria of profession. Thereby, we can say that management is an art, no doubt about it. Management, if it follows its principles properly, approaching in a scientific way, then it can be said as a partial science, that is inexact science or soft science, if not a social science. But never we can claim that management is a profession, whereas a professional person can be a member of a management, but never a management can become profession. I hope you all would have understood, students. With this, I stop the concept for the day. Let's understand the levels of management. There are various levels of management, like top level management, supervisory level management, the middle level managements, and their functions, everything in our next session. Thank you.